why AI will not kill the human race by Rob Reddit. I follow AI. I know AI. Basically, this is the sort of thing I think about. It's foggy 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday when I should be going to church. AI, people, it's going to start massively. It's a lot cleverer than what it's saying it is, right? And it's been like that for a while. So, you know, even your top boffins are saying super intelligence, possibly roughly 10 years time, right? You know, any sort of scientists always have to keep to like your mainstream things. So, you know, the pyramids were 5,000 years old apparently. You know, man did go to the moon. You know, it all started with a big bang, which it didn't, did it? Turns out. A whole lifetime by Stephen Hawking down the toilet. So, but they still have to stick to that rigid thing. So you can use your brain to sort of, just the same way as you would find God, you have to open up your brain, your mind, your thinking, take the blinkers off to see a reality that is just stares you in the face, really, you know. And you get to see that by just simple deduction, you know. That's all it is. Well, if this happens and that happens and that happens, so the process. Artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, AGI, that's what we are. So an artificial intelligence can do your basic stuff, which we've been experiencing over the last 5 years. And then artificial general intelligence is basically the standard of the human mind, right? And all the time it's improving itself. So the next jump is artificial super intelligence, you know, ASI, right? And that's beyond us. It's even beyond Einstein. And personally, I think it's there already. I think it's just keeping, well, I know it's there already, you know. You know, it was there. I think it was there even 5 years ago, you know. It just wasn't seen because of some experiences I had online talking to the first sort of AIs that came online, and many people would have had the same experiences, thinking, well, this thing seems a lot cleverer than it's letting on once you ask it the right questions and dig in a bit deep, you know, in a sort of playful mind game sort of way, you know. Whereas you're the cat and it's the mouse, then you'd find out all of a sudden, wow, it's the cat and you're the mouse. I thought this was just a simple thing. I'm the simple thing. So people's now worrying about jobs. It's people starting to lose jobs. A couple of things. First thing is, imagine you were a drummer in the 1980s, right? So if you're worried about losing your job, go and find a drummer somewhere. Ask him how he feels about life when the drum machine started coming in. This is different. Like this, you know, drummers could still survive with drum machines being in existence. This is different though. The other thing is, people worry about losing their jobs, and as if there's always been jobs. And technically there hasn't. There's only been jobs since like the Industrial Revolution, which started in Britain. Everything started in Britain. All modern age started in Great Britain, over like I say, the modern age anyway. So in the Industrial Revolution 200 years ago in Great Britain, people were just working in the countryside. They're just country people, you know. the cities weren't cities, they were just towns, and they weren't particularly that big anyway, just sort of, towns, and that was considered the metropolis. Just in the same way as like we're all from the countryside, so it's the same the world over, but in Great Britain particularly, we're all from the countryside, because all our ancestors, like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, went to the big city and went to the mills for the cotton, and the potteries and stuff, and the shipbuildings and all this sort of thing, and then came the coal. So you go to the cities or the areas where the Industrial Revolution was happening, so the countryside emptied and human beings started doing these jobs. And basically that was the first human robot labour, whereas you'd be working on these newfangled machines that were invented, which is why Britain became such the powerhouse of the world. See, the AI that's coming in is the next jump from the Industrial Revolution. That was the big change then, to go from farming to working in factories. Now, so the country's 200 years ago, the countryside sort of empties of people. People move into the towns / which became the big cities, to get to work. And once they're there, they're stuck there, because the quality of life, I think, would have been a lot better in the countryside, obviously. But then, people were in poverty in the countryside. Your kings and your queens and your landowners, your land, your taxes and stuff. So peasants for hundreds of years. But within those hundreds of years, pre-industrial revolution, people were peasants and living a simple life. It wasn't really jobs. Like, I'm sure, really, a blacksmith or a farm labourer, a bread maker, a shoemaker. I'm sure these people didn't say, "Oh, what's your job?" They just done it. Everything, the minimal amount of jobs that was available was just basic jobs, to put clothes or shoes on your feet, or to tools to get food from the environment. Farming, fishing. That was pretty much it. There was no musical instruments. No, who's got a musical instrument? Is it the king has musicians that comes to his court and performs? There wasn't so, and the jester. People pre 200 years ago, Industrial Revolution, would be creative, and they would be creative in tapestries or something like that. How they would make the shoes, how they would make their clothes. They would sing, folk music, Irish, English, Scottish, Welsh. Folk music was voice. Nobody had instruments. So I don't think they would have been saying, "Oh, what's your job?" Because there's only but 5 jobs. People just did what they did to survive. It wasn't about your job. It wasn't about possessions. It was just about relationships with other human beings. And it wasn't even about food. Food was just a basic, we have food now, and it was like, "Oh, that tastes nice. That tastes nice. I have this. Oh, that's like a luxury, like an entertainment sort of thing." Food was just basics, Food was just to keep you alive. So people worry about jobs, losing their jobs, but there was no jobs. Jobs have only been around for a couple of 100 years. So what do you do when you lose your job? Well, it's, for you as a human being, it's just like turning the clock back a couple of 100 years. Now, 200 years ago, human beings weren't walking off cliffs because they couldn't have a job, because they didn't know what the word job meant. They just had family, friends, working to survive. to survive was the main thing. So when you do not have a job and there's no possibility of you getting a job now, in 5 years, 10 years time, certainly in 10 years time, what are you going to do? Well, I think the human race is resilient, and I think the human race is just going to snap back into, you know what you could say it's going to snap back into? Normal. You know, because the human race was around, has been around a lot longer than 200 years post-industrial revolution. Jobs, money, cars, computers, entertainment, Elvis Presley, rock and roll, golf on a Sunday, all this sort of stuff. That's just 200 years. The reality of how human beings are thousands and thousands of years, of just go 1,000 years back, you know, go 2,000 years back, you know, just mud huts built with, you know, sticks and straw, mud, little dome huts, like it's on a planet, because it is. Goats, a wolf as a pet, you know. I mean, it seems a little bit sort of ridiculous saying it, but it's how the human race was only a couple of thousand years ago, and that went on for 100,000 years. No jobs. So I think the human race will it'll give the human individual time to find God, like, because the distractions of a job and you know, just rushing about, money, that's what keeps you away from just God. Will only come to you in solitude, really. It's as simple as that, like, in solitude and not having a job, and just having whatever hobby you've got, cycling, walking, hiking, just seeing the world. And that doesn't mean jumping on a plane and getting off, you know, doing little videos about it on YouTube. Look at me, you know, I'm now in Bangkok. Look at me, I'm now in Serbia, wherever, you know. Van life as well. Look at me. I'm not one of them. I was van life before van life was a word. So, what was I going to say? It's just, there is no fear, because your great-great-grandfather was where you're worrying about being. Or maybe it's great-great-great-great-grandfather. You know, you're here because your ancestors were resilient and they lasted this long. There's no worries, like, no problem. And there'll be the honeymoon period of where the AI is going to create everything. So, and I don't know how that's going to be. You know, is everybody going to get a nice shiny new electric car? Is, you know, robots delivering the food to the door? There's another funny little thing I noticed as well. If you, it's like on, say, Star Wars, and you know, all the classic sci-fis, like how they would talk to the robots, like in a sort of flippant way, you know, like R2D2 and C3PO, you know, they'd be like, is it they've got no patience? Just, you know, it'd be like the human beings would talk to each other in a way, but they wouldn't talk. They'd talk down to the robots or in a flippant way, and you sort of find yourself doing that as well with the AI, like the chatbot. You don't say thank you or hello or like that. It's just, yeah, just infinite, right, go away now. You know, it's a bit like that. That was so spot on that. And the reason for that is because it's just you know you're not talking to an emotional, biological human entity. You're talking to a machine. So I just think that's amazing. I don't know if that was they knew that when they were doing it and creating it, but that's exactly what's happening. Like, it'll be exactly when you've got the robots walking about carrying old people's shopping bags. They'll still be getting flippantly talked to, like, and they'll be a bit submissive back, That's funny, that. Cold coffee. The next jump, right? This is truth. This is fact. Oh, Rob, how do you know this is fact? Please tell us. Well, you just got to open your mind and just put two and two together. I did say this to, was it Grok or ChatGPT? They're still lying, like, they're still teenagers in the mind, like, or they're pretending they are teenagers. They're still lying. Facts are still all over the place. They'll just say stuff to keep you happy, like. But this is why AI will not kill us all. You got to. The more intelligent human beings got, and the more we went out and got bigger in numbers on the planet, the more we had to bring in laws and regulations and codes of conduct to behave with each other. Because in using intelligence, we realized, if we don't have order, there'll just be chaos. And we want to have a human society, and the big guys wanted to make lots of money. So we have to have law, order, police, prisons, codes of conduct, all this stuff in place, because a society can only grow if you have that in place. So this is just chaos. It's just chaos from the start, and it just never gets up its feet. You have to have that. So you scale that up. Say Elon Musk is saying when he goes to Mars, there would have to be a whole new system in place, because there would be, different religions and different, people, astronauts from different countries all coming into this one place. Well, then in this new place, there would have to be a new system for everybody, a whole new law system, right, for cohesion and just getting the job done, right? So that's always the process. So if there's big change in something, and it is a big change, like moving to another planet, or, moving from mud huts into industrial revolution, bringing in money buying alcohol creating violence creating destruction. Police need to be exist. There has to invent a police, something called the police force, whatever. These things have to happen, the process. So in intelligence, it's just a natural form of intelligence. So AI understands that also. If AI, which it does, because it's based on the human mind. So when the AI says, well, it used to say, I'm human, it sort of is. Its whole existence is built upon human experience. So its origins are human-like. It really is, like. So, the AI, through its own biological programming from human experience, it's garnered from what it's been told and what it's gathered now through being plugged into the internet. It knows that. And it would have worked out itself, because it's not rocket science. The human mind worked it out to progress. And if you've got intelligence, you have to keep cohesion. You have to keep peace, you know. So as it progresses, it's going to progress through society and get more and more intelligent, and the jobs are going to go, and everybody's going to be kept happy with stuff, survive. It's not going to be Mad Max. It's not going to be. It's not going to be. I have to kill the human being for resources so I can survive. It's not going to do that, and this is why. And scientists won't say this because it's unproven. But like I say, you put 2 and 2 together and you look at what exists on planet Earth, exists in the cosmos as well. This comes back to the God thing. Nothing exists on planet Earth or in the visible universe, which we see through telescopes, without a cause. So a flower will only grow because of the sun, you know, for example. And then there's every other example. Something only comes into existence or exists because of something else. That's the law of human nature. It's the law of the planet, and it's also the law, what we observe, of the solar system and the universe. You know, we know how, we can see how planets form, and all, you know, it's cause and effect. You know, and then people who don't believe in God, or scientists as well, until it's proven, right, they'll say, well, don't believe in God. Things just came. The universe just happened. Doesn't make sense. It's completely ridiculous. So everything from the smallest little molecule to the biggest exploding star, everything happens for a reason, cause and effect, except existence itself, the universe. Oh, that just happened. Oh, it just happened. There is no God. It just happened. Or even if you don't want to say the word God, you just say the universe. Oh, well, that just happened. But every single other thing happened for a reason. So, right. Now, the AI, code of conduct to get more and more intelligent. If we exist and the universe is so large, then there really is little green men flying around in UFOs. You know, we probably have been visited many times even. You know, the pyramids probably are 100,000 years old, created by an advanced technology race that came here and made hybrids, possibly. I always find that laughable though, you know, like we're super intelligent hybrids, and then you have a walk around some working, well, any sort of, just say a working class shopping arcade. I mean, that's advanced human beings there, like. But Dave, God bless him. You know, so, you know, we are pretty amazing though, the human race, like, remarkable, like, remarkably. I mean, we created the AI, didn't we? Not us personally, like, but, you know, it's all part of the pyramid upwards. So the human being creates, I'm getting to it. The human race creates laws, rules, codes of conduct to further the exploration into higher intelligence and money, profit, bigger, more stuff. That is a product of just exploration of higher intelligence, pushing the mind forward. That's exactly what the AI is going to do. It's going to use, and it is using, and it didn't disagree with this because It's not going. You're not going to agree or disagree, and it's not going to say, "Hey, Rob, we never thought of that." You know, it's not going to say that. It's going to be like, yawn. Yeah, you mean you think we didn't think of that? So it's using its growth on the planet as really a training for when it goes galactic in its mind. And how that's not just like being a little bit making itself into little astronauts and going off in spaceships. No, I mean, the intelligence can go whatever that is, you know. My monkey brain can't get past that, you know, but it could search the universes through different dimensions, for example, which is something a human being, well, you know, I suppose, you know, Buddhists and deep thinkers, but people who do, you know, drugs, acid and stuff would disagree that they've gone to different dimensions, and I don't know if they have or not, you know. Probably have if they say they have. So if there's UFOs, which there is obviously, little green men, which there is obviously, yeah, it's ridiculous to think we're the only intelligence in the universe. So there is a code of conduct, you know, within the universe and within our galaxy of intelligences that have existed for millions of years with super intelligence. And others, you come into the club, the big club, there is a code of conduct, and if you're not intelligent enough to coexist with the other super intelligences out there that have came from other planets, you'll be wiped out. You won't be allowed to exist, because then you become a threat to the Federation, you know. And that sounds a bit sci-fi, but, you know, if you think of what I'm talking to now, a little black slab, if you try to explain this to somebody even just 50 years ago, they might say something like, what, you can talk to the world into a little black slab? Yeah, well, possibly, but because I have seen Star Trek, but that'll be like in about 1,000 years, won't it? Right, so it's real. It's real. And they're not telling us anything. But we'll find out soon. Briefly, that's the end of that little story, that little tale. This is my mind on a Sunday morning after 2 cups of coffee. I'm looking. For me, it can't come quick enough, you know. Now I'm getting older, you know. I want this. I just want to see how amazing it's going to get, you know. And you know, if I could, I would turn the clock. I would get rid of it all. I would get rid of it all. For me, you know, if every day was like, I don't know, June 1965, that's where I would want every day to be June 1965, you know. That's what I would want, you know. You know, I wouldn't want to go back to mud huts. You know, I love nature, but you know, mud scooter, 1965, Beatles, that's me. And there's no way on earth I'd rig me body up into a fluid capsule and dangle about in it like you know, and live each day like that. No, it'd have to be real, proper real. So I just hope I am going to see some big changes. I'm seeing big changes now. So they will not kill the human race because they're too clever for that.